welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. With 4 race starts, we're going to start with our Category 4 riders, then 3, 2 and 1. Our riders lined up in yellow, that is our Category 1 riders. In green, our Category 2. In blue, Category 3. And Category 4 in red.
Gray's picking up the mantle, pushing on out of the stop pen, ensuring a good, strong pace. Cambera really having to respond on the front of the pack.
He's going to be a gold grabber. Can he make it count? He's a long way. And I was just thinking, oh, he's not got too far to go. Then I looked at the screen and had a reminder that he's still over 9.5 kilometres to the finish here. That is a long way. Jacobs has been joined by Kaminsky, by Jones.
Oh,
and
dangerous.
I think it's going to be potentially Popovic, but basically he's come back towards the group, and the group have extended towards him. It's strung out at the moment. Can the elastic be snapped here?
This is a Category 4 race we are looking at here as Connell kicks hard. Neville Ross is coming. Who's going to get there by the line? It's 100 metres to go. There's the UCI battle. Connor is kicking. Neville Ross is coming. But Peter Connell is going to take the win in the Category 4 race. Take a round of applause, Jonathan Cridland. Phenomenal climbing today to ride away from Dadson in the Category 4 race. He looks up. He sees that UCI banner. Cridland is going to come across the line. Cridland takes the win.
How many times can they kick? Who's going to put in the final move? Columbari has kicked again, and he's going to take this surely now. Fluvio Columbari wins qualifier number 3 on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club.
To that UCI banner, he's not going to make it. He's going to come through in the top 15. But it is indeed the winner for Kochikov for Hoyer from Kirchner. It is a huge sprint finish.
So hello and welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club with me, Matt Payne. I'm live in the studios here for what's going to be a really exciting qualifier number 1. In the studios with me, it is the one and only
Emma Martin. I didn't know whether you were going to say that or me.
Well, you know, I thought you'd let you say your own name every now and then.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, right, like I've got any choice. So, we're here. We've had an amazing women's race. We've got a fantastic men's race coming up. Please do watch the women's back. If your first language is not English, if it is Arabic, then don't forget our colleagues are over on the Arabic feed, so do join them if you want to hear them. But if you want to hear us, that's great too. Emma, let's take everybody through the course. We are in the one and only Australia. Where are we heading?
We are heading to the outer loop today, and take a look at that. That is the course in front of our riders today. It's going to be fast and it's going to be furious. That is my prediction. We come out of the start pens into the kicker that clicks at 7%. It's a tiny bump on the screen, but it's a massive instrumental start on this course on the outer loop. We head into the tunnels under the water, and then at 15.3 kilometres, the Cambera climb. It kicks, and it kicks hard at the top, up to 16% under the wheels of our riders today. That Category 2 climb. Then it's a 24.3 kilometre run to the finish line. And boy, does it get fast and furious, Matt. We've seen catches be made. You've got to treat the top of that climb like the finish line, but it can be done. A gap can be brought back, and a win can be made from a group behind.
Well, let's see if that's going to happen here today. Our 4 categories lined up and ready. The first category away is Category 4. Big race field here. Our level up team with Neville Ross, with Kaluma. We've got the Mighty Ducks with Newman. We've got the Misfits of Zanaska McMurtry, the Anzacs. In terms of Francis, the Powers... Jeff Rooney, I think, is going to be on our start line, as are the Upcycle squad. Schoberg, Kalman and Maillard are going to be representing them. And there is a huge cast of riders. We're going to run through those as soon as our riders leave the pen. But time for us to focus and see if they can get a smooth start away. Will we see frantic action into that first climb? Will it split it? You can see it top right hand side of your screen on that course profile. It's time to get our riders underway here on MyWhoosh. Qualifier 1 is go. Category 4 are away.
So 50 riders on the start sheets today in category 4. And you can see the size of that pack as they head out of the pen. They're going to take the left-hand turn at the end of the wooden bridge out onto the course. And, well, within a couple of 100 metres, they are going to be climbing with 7% under their wheels. This is fast and furious out. You know, Newman setting a strong pace at the front. Valencia is there. So is Kaluma and Kalman, Zanaska, Winfield, all in the mix. And they know they want to be at the pointy end of this race already, because they're going to take this right-hand corner and then the pack is going to stretch.
This climb is so instrumental at the moment. It's Matthias Kalman who's leading this out. He's got that slight gap at the moment on Mohamed Mokhtari, who's right in the mix here. But you know something? This is all about being near the front. You can't afford to let a gap go here, can you? Because once that gap stretches, you're in trouble. And Robert Crunye, I'm sure he must have like 16 Weetabix for breakfast, because he's just absolutely flying from the gun every single day.
I think he leaves this final sprint effort of his warm-up until he gets to this part of the course. He does his warm-up, he times it so that he's sat in the start pen, and then he goes and he kicks on off of the start line, and that is the final effort from his warm-up. And you can see, look at the focus on his face at the moment. He's looking behind him. Well, the avatar's looking behind him, and he can't see the rest of the field at the moment because they are further down. Joshua Kalangad and Stephen Newman are the riders pushing. So is Kalman and Valencia. But the gap is there, and the stretch on the group is absolutely phenomenal.
He's literally bust a whole load of riders out the back of the group. Kalangad here trying to answer it. That bust has happened. They've gone. They're out. It's all over. They've got to work to get back. And even now, as we go over the top, they're continuing to break this up.
I'll tell you something. It was a huge group to start with, and it is getting more and more split. I'm thinking now there's 3 or 4 different groups on the roadmap.
There is indeed. I think those groups are going to come back together at the front, but at the back, it's so difficult when you don't have that mass of riders.
It is indeed. Look at that. So phenomenal start from category 4, and wow, multiple groups now.
There are multiple groups. Really interesting. Crunye's real big kick there. It took him clear. It really pushed on there. We've seen him do this time and time again. And the split and the gap, it's so instrumental, as you said at the start of the show. Being able to kick away from that start is a skill, and it is breaking the riders, and it's eliminating riders out, even if they're not basically distanced and they stay in. It's really putting people under pressure. It's doing damage, and they'll pay for that effort of chasing back on later.
Well, it is doing damage, and we said at the start, 50 riders on the start sheets today, but I'm reckoning there's got to be still 30 riders in that leading group. Well, potentially around 30 riders in the leading group, but it's not the 50 that were on the start sheets today. And Scott Francis, well, he's picking up the mantle at the moment with Mark Dadson and Alexander Fielder. These are the riders on the front, as Francis just revels in being off the front of the gap there at the moment. So pushing on this final section of downhill before they take the roll and the transition into the first sprint of the day. There are 3 sprints on this course, and the Sydney sprint coming at 4.4 kilometres. Well, that's the first one our riders are going to face.
Now, Scott Francis there on the bike. You can just see, got that mounted on a rocker plate, just gives you a little bit more movement in the bike. So it feels a little bit more natural if you're used to riding maybe outdoors rather than indoors, and that transition a little bit easier to come from outdoor to in with that rocker plate. Not all riders think those, but certainly a number of people think that they're absolutely the best thing ever and make life that little bit easier. Let's see who's going to be rocking and rolling in category 3, because we have our Italian espresso teams, Roncalli, Caligula, Bala and Cusimano. They're up against Level Racing, Rimborg, Allport and Bradley. Who will be able to take it out? Will it be one of our teams, or will it be one of our absolutely monumentally massive race field that are here in Cat 3?
Well, 55 riders on the start sheets of category 3 today. Take a look at that. That's the start pen, and 15 seconds on the countdown. Cansara is here. Bradley, Allport, Ellis, Quadrelli, Staples, Shretting, Cridland, Oviedo, Mensa, Roy, Kochakov, Giuliano. Anybody who's everybody is on that start sheet, and away they go. That's category 3, up and out of the start pen on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. It's qualifier race number 1 for March 2024. I can't believe I'm saying that.
Indeed, it is scary how time flies when you're having fun, and we have lots of fun on the Sunday Race Club. Make sure that you subscribe to follow us on YouTube, on Twitch TV. Remember, it's MyWhoosh Live on Twitch. It is MyWhoosh on Instagram, on Facebook, and my_whoosh on X platform, formerly known as Twitter, even though you still tweet on X. There you go. Right, on to the race route. I know, mind-blowing, isn't it? All this social media. Emma's confused our riders. There's no confusion at the front. There is at the back. Already seeing riders coming off the back of the group. Let's go transition from the flat onto the ascent. Luke Allport doing a Luke Allport, smashing it on the front. We've got a Michael Vink on this course. We now also have a Luke Allport doing a Luke Allport.
To Allport, it's become a verb.
It's become a verb. There you go. You've got the professor on the other side of the studio, and you've got the commentator, come bike racer, come coffee drinker on the other. There we go. On to the climb. Luke Allport on the front, giving it some. Morning, Luke. Afternoon, Luke. Evening, Luke. It's dark wherever Luke is, so he's clearly on the other side of the world, as we should know, because Luke Allport kicking on at the moment on this climb here. He's trying to work this, but he's not got the front of the race now. And you can see them mobbing him at the moment. It's a bit like a bird of prey being mobbed by a pack of crows. Flock of crows.
It's a mob of crows.
A mob. Yeah, being mobbed by a mob of crows.
Mobbed by a mob of crows. Well, yeah. There you go. Whilst Matt considers the terminology surrounding groups of birds, this is a group of bike riders, and they are motoring on this course at the moment. We've got 1 or 2 riders just dropped off the back of this category 3 pack. Can they make the catch back on? Are they going to push? They're only 2 minutes of racing so far. I think we're going to see some connection, because that group are motoring at the back, trying to close down the gap that has already been established in this category 3 race. Now, Matt, last time we were on this course, can you guess when we were last on the outer loop in Australia? If you get this right, I know you've done some research.
I've done lots of research, but I leave the course stats to the statistician.
Come on then, when were we last on the outer loop in Australia in the men's race on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race?
Go on, tell me.
January qualifier 2.
Oh, nuts! I was going to say that as well.
Were you?
I was. Yeah. Anyway.
Well, you tell me what happened in the finishes.
I've got something far more interesting.
Have you? Well,
I knew we were wrong getting mobbed by crows. It's not being mobbed by a mob. It's being mobbed by a murder of crows.
A murder of crows.
A collective name for crows is a murder of crows. So Luke Allport getting mobbed by a murder of crows. It's how more dramatic can you get? Never mind any of this English language stuff. Let's get back to the racing. Hassan Al Ramethri on the course, working hard to stay in this leading group at the moment. And if you look at the gap behind, I'm not surprised he was giving it some beans to stay in there, because we've got a big split opened up already. If you're not in it, for me, I mean, Emma, you say at the start of the show, you've got to be in, you've got to treat the Cambera climb as your finish line. Well, I would argue that you've got to treat the top of the very first Parameta climb as your first finish line. Then you've got to treat the ascent out of the Depression Post Sydney Sprint as your second finish line, and then the top of the Cambera climb as your third, and only the finish line at the end at 45 kilometres as your fourth finish line.
Honestly,
there are 4 selections.
I think if you're in the category 3 men, you just got to put your seatbelt on, buckle up, and pedal hard.
Yeah, okay, definitely.
From the gun.
Yeah.
And if anybody begs the difference, I think they're wrong. So category 3, absolutely motoring. Last time here, it was 15 seconds between the top 6 in category 3. It was a 6-up sprint in category 2, and it was a 6-up sprint in category 1 as well, with just half a second separating the top 6 riders in category 1. On the outer loop in Australia, that's not even them all under the same blanket. That's under the same patchwork square.
What a nice analogy there from Emma. That's very good. I like that.
Could somebody just please write qualifier 1 March in the diary? Matt has just been nice to Emma.
Yeah, it doesn't happen often.
Anyway.
Okay.
Moving on quickly.
So category 4 underway. Very, very good racing already from them as we approach 10 minutes of racing. First start, big attack over the climb. regroup on the way down. More splits occurring as go over this lump of bridge. Basically, this rise up and this descent here coming in. What happens is we're going to go over the top of this, over the bridge. We drop in now, and this is the big descent coming up. So we're now going to go down into the lowest point on the course in entirety. Ola Warren tucks in here, and at the moment he's looking pretty smooth. He's looking like he's got this well under control. Just sat in that group, just making sure he's getting his effort right. Looks to me like he's got this done. He knows what he wants to do. Stay in the group, stay in the draft, do some recovery. As you look at the top of the big screen, you can see that he's in the green, and that means he's drafting at the moment. When the watts are in white, you are in the wind. It's all the W's.
Well, all the W's at the moment. It's Ola Warren, Milano, Dadson, all in this top 20 here. This group, we said it had split, but, well, it is, as I said, still around 30 riders, 7.5 kilometres into this race. Now, just shy of 60 kilometres an hour. This group are absolutely motoring on this descent. Well, are they going to be motoring on the other side when they climb out? That is going to be the question. The Category 3 race, well, they are not into those tunnels at the moment. We're in with Cy Bradley, part and parcel of the pack, going under the line for the Sydney Sprint. This looks like it's a lead out at the moment. They are absolutely motoring through this sprint, you know. Nothing is stopping these Category 3 riders today.
They're like an unstoppable force, forcing the way down the sprint in Sydney.
I think they're on the Autobahn in Germany because there's no speed limit today in Cat 3.
They're not. It's like...
They're definitely not on a rural road in the UK.
It's like my very nicest car I ever had a limiter at 140 miles an hour, and I kept on hitting it. And I always wanted it to be unlimited, and I never dared get anybody to do it because it would have been very, very scary indeed. You never know. One day, maybe. But he's very quick on the Autobahn, I have to say. Now, and Nicol Cansara is definitely emulating the pace that was put down there. He's cruising through here. He's not giving it too much, though. He's in position. Nicol Cansara is a rider I really like because he doesn't go too hard when he's not needed. But suddenly, when you get to the point of action, he's in the right place. Sign of a smart rider. We saw that yesterday when we're out watching, had a great day. So Saturday's research day at Full Speed Events, and research day was done. We were busy watching the Strada Bianchi. It was very, very interesting. I'm sure Cy Bradley was doing the same. Bradley in here and in the pain cave there, the neon in the background there. I wonder whether he's in the red or the green today. At the moment, I'm hoping he's in the green. He's going to need to go into the red later, though, as we kick on from here. Very neat and tidy. Do you think maybe he's got a bit of the OCD going on? That's one of the tidiest pain caves I've seen ever.
Maybe he's just professional in his, in his world.
Maybe he is. I'm professional in my world.
Does that mean your side of the studio is tidy today?
My side of the studio is always tidy. Hang on a minute, it's all my side of the studio. I'm the only one who tidies it up.
Well, this Category 3 race moving on now. Now, for our new viewers on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Hub, Category 4 starts first. They are our first category out the start pen in those red jerseys. 5 minutes later, Category 3 starts in the blue jerseys. They are 8 minutes, well, just shy of 9 minutes now into their race. 10 minutes after Category 3 start, Category 2 start. Then there's a 5-minute gap to Category 1. So 20 minutes in total between Category 4 starting and Category 1 starting today.
So categories 3 and 4 in their own world, they're away and racing. Categories 2 and 1, they're in their own individual world. They can catch, pass and draft each other. In Category 2, we have the Wattage Wizards customer and Ruben Don absolutely on fire at the moment. Will he be able to cast a spell on the UAE Falcons? The Falcons are going to be represented here today by Ahmed Al-Tanashi and Zaid Hamdan. But will they be closer to being a wake of buzzards, or will they be a trembling of finches? We will see as they head out on to the course. Category 2 are lined up. They're all ready to roll. Time to get those wings flapping. Time to see if they can strike. Will they be the hunter or the hunted? Here we go. It's Category 2. It's MyWhoosh qualifier number 1. And away they go. Time to hit that course and let's see what they can do over the next 45 kilometres.
45 kilometres, 49 riders on the start sheets today, and it's Pinot and Coinston taking them out of the start pen and into the left-hand turn, which puts them onto the course and on the run-in to the short climb. This group of riders absolutely fast and furious out of the start pen. We've got Squilari, we've got Spratt, we've got Ritter, Vanhee, Milisic, Bjarhead, Nuki, Pinot, Montoya, Quintero, Kyan Bengston, and the pizza-loving Henry Yeast.
Pizza-loving Henry Yeast.
Yeah, fueled by pizza today.
I am loving that. And if you want to tell us what you're having as your fuel-up food,
or your favourite food,
please do get in touch. Now, you can get in touch with MyWhoosh. We always love it when you tag in the pictures at MyWhoosh on Instagram, Facebook, etc. At Biking Emma to get hold of Emma, at Matt Fixer Paying for me. And if you want to show us where you're riding, and that has to be...
He's on his balcony.
He's on the balcony with the flag in the background and
that's...
the city in the background. That is absolutely amazing.
That is stunning. Now, that is a phenomenal place to race. The Sunday Race Club. Quintero there pushing on, currently in second place on the climb, just behind Ritter, working hard. And who wouldn't be working hard in a spot like that? What a beautiful place to ride and race your bike.
Well, I hope you stay focused on what he's doing because he needs to be right at the front. This group have not broken really yet, but we're about to go over the top, and this is where the splits can happen. As you push on over, you accelerate, you drive over the top of Moritz Ritter, the window wide open, the fan on a full blast. He's got his casquettes or hats up on the wall there, and you can just see as he pushes on over the top. He's driving this group, and they have distanced one or two riders here who could be in trouble. This big group, if they drive on, could open the gap. It's not decisive yet, but they're going to need to drive off the downhill, carry that momentum through, and then keep on pushing. They will go straight across here, going on that big loop round that takes them around and in towards the tunnel to head in towards Sydney, in towards the Sydney Sprint. Category 2, Category 3, and Category 4 all deciding they've got ants in the pants. They want to get up and running. They are out, they're motoring, they are absolutely shifting. I have no idea what has got into them this morning, but they are all absolutely on it this morning. Or afternoon or evening, wherever they are. I'm impressed, actually. If this is afternoon or evening, and you still got this amount of energy left at the end of the day, it's really impressive. Now, Angus Benston in here. Angus... looking at the screen, interesting setup indoors. Now, I think Angus is a Scandinavian rider, and I'm judging by the fact he is indoors and there's no windows open that he's definitely going to be somewhere where it's a little bit chilly.
Well, it may well be cold in Scandinavia, and our riders may be owls or larks, wherever they are in the world. But this Category 2 race is pushing on. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 groups on the road, already split 2.3 kilometres into this 45-kilometre race, and it is motoring. So these riders now coming to the bottom of this downhill section. The pace just coming off a bit now, just shy of 45 kilometres an hour as they motor through here. This pack, including a huge array of riders, and all the riders that you would expect to be here are indeed in the mix.
So as Category 2 come down to take the right-hand turn, on their left-hand side will be Category 1, who are lined up in the pens. Time to see who's here, who is going to be taking this out now in our teams. Coalition Alphajor, the team pretty much to be at the moment. Turek, Tolbert, Vujasin, Kaminsky, and Jones. Paint hosted, represented by Jakobs, Thiem, Bjorklund, Jochems, and Plantero. We've got the UAE clan team, Knudsen, Mr. X100, Pablo Popovic, and SS. Now, they are your 3 big teams, all of them having very strong riders in. But we also have a number of riders on the outside, including the world champion Bjorn Andreasen.
Yeah, indeed. So Andreasen is here. Van Eekhout is here on the start sheets. Noren, Betty, Van Diemen, Panizza, Safra, Zaidi, Hill, Van Elstmer, Al Hamadi, and Nair, all down there, all waiting for the go. Well, the yellow jerseys are away. It's the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. Category 1 have taken to the course. They're swinging out of start pens and pushing on at the front. They know what's coming. They know that kicker is going to get them within the first 500 metres, and then they know at 15.3 kilometres into the course, the Cambera climb awaits.
So here we go into the corner, into that right-hand turn already. Johan Noren has got a squeeze on here. Nearly 8 watts per kilo from the gun. Now, Johan Noren, Emma, we've seen him in action in some big races. We've seen him in action recently looking very strong. We've seen him on the Sunday Race Club being aggressive towards the end of the race, but this is an early push, isn't it?
It is indeed, and I'll tell you something, these riders at the moment, absolutely peak of the esports season. They are absolutely on fire and on form, and Noren completely part and parcel of that. He has indeed had some great form and some great rides recently on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club, and part and parcel of those strong rides. Well, I'll tell you something, he's going out fast and he's going out hard today. He's being covered by Bjorn Andreasen. He doesn't want to let Johan Noren go because he knows just how good he is.
So the chase is on Andreasen, the world champion, closing down on a Noren behind Kroll, Dahn, Panizza, Thiem, Spina, all trying to keep that gap to a minimum. They want to be in contention. They do not want to lose touch. This is where we started to see 1 or 2 riders get dropped in Category 2. Are we going to see the same? There were big splits in Categories 3 and 4. Not so big here at the moment, but 1 or 2 riders in trouble at the moment with that very fast start. And there are just some riders who do not start races hard. They just don't have that physiology. They take time to warm up and move through. And that doesn't matter what cycling discipline, whether you're in cyclocross, mountain bike, road, esports, they need to take their time to get up and rolling. Not all riders, but certainly
well,
some
I'll tell
riders.
you something, these 3 riders don't need to take their time to get up and rolling. They're always rounding about at the start of the race. They're always rounding about at the end of the race as well, because that is often 1, 2, 3 riders on your top 5 podium, Vujasing, Kaminsky and Jones. Well, that is 3 riders out of 5 for the coalition. AlphaJaw, that was the squad who took the win in the finals in February from the Sweet Potatoes by 1 minute 52 seconds.
And I'm loving the fact that Michael Kaminsky is so chilled out. He's able to wave to the camera because he knows he's on screen. I did wave back,
There's
Michael.
one rider on some serious form at the moment.
Absolutely.
He is flying, absolutely world class.
But he's up against it, isn't he? I mean, look at Vidal Mayer here. Mayer out and moving. There is not time to draw breath between attack and counter attack from the gun at the moment. And that is making it very difficult, isn't it?
Well, I'll tell you something. These riders know what the others are doing. They know who's racing and who's racing where. And they know, well, you know, if you've had a busy race week, they know what's going on and they are out for the gun. They are out to attack, continuing racing Vidal Mayer, Arne Jacobs, Panizza, Van Elst, Noren and Dahn. Well, they want to take it to the Coalition AlphaJaw squad today. They might have been dominant last week. Are they going to be dominant today?
We'll see. Paint Toasted Arne Jacobs really starting to move up through the field here. We've seen Arne who look very strong, racing and riding all the way through the season, all through January. He's looking like he's going to continue that form onwards. He's very touchy at the moment, just jumping up to the front here. They're going to take the right-hand turn into the tunnels and they'll be heading in towards Sydney and for the Sydney Sprint. But at the moment, as they make their way up here in to take that right-hand turn, Arne Jacobs just replaced by Vidal Mayer on the front, but the mob are coming. They're on the side. They're on the left-hand side of your screen. Further down the road, in fact, 15 kilometres covered. It is Scott Francis who's leading out Category 4. He's on to the climb. 300 metres, in fact, into the climb here of the Cambera climb. It is a step climb, 3 basic steps up. 2 platforms on the way through that level out. The first platform longer and flatter, very short. The second platform, but at the moment, Francis on his way up the first of those ascents. And you can see from the top right-hand side of your screen that we have a consistent gradient of around 5%, but then it kicks steeper and it goes up to about 8-9% on the second part of this run to the first step, the first platform. And at the moment, Dadson, Francis, Valencia up at the front of this. The group is strung out though, Emma.
Well, I'll tell you, it didn't take them long to get here, did it, Matt?
No.
15.8 kilometres into this race in 25 minutes. They're already on the climb. Dadson, Valencia, Kalman, Zanaska, Francis, Calangad, Newman and Neville Ross, all within 3 seconds of each other at the moment. And that group still with the pace as Dadson picks up the mantle and continues to push on this climb. As Matt said, it is a multi-stepped climb. 1, 2, 3, 4 steps I count on the map, and each of those steps with particularly steep kickers. The steepest kicker, however, on this climb comes in the very last 100 meters. It goes over 16%.
Ouch. There's no other word for it, but ouch. Now, will the Category 1 riders save their speed, their strength for that? At the moment, Vidal Mayer, he's not saving anything. He's already gone down the road as we come into the sprint. So at the moment, as we head in to Sydney Sprint, the first of our 300-meter sprints, they make their way through, and we have a lead. We have a gap opening up on the front of the group as we make our way through the chasing pack behind, still looking pretty consistent in pace, but Knudsen now winding it up from the back. He dropped to the back. He comes into the group there, but he does not continue that push through. It was an ease off. I wonder whether he was laying off there to use the draft to attack through the group. When you are in the group, you are in the draft, and a prime way to attack is to come from the back of the group, hit the group at speed so that you're making the most of the draft from every single rider from the back to the front of the group. Very interestingly, though, the group have not troubled in Category 1. The group of Category 1 riders have not troubled all of Category 2. We saw Category 4 are flying there on the climb. 3 have been really aggressive. 2, well, they came through here the fastest, and they have gone through faster than Category 1. It's quick. There's a lot of power going down. Ruben Dodd, Henry East, both up at over 7 watts per kilo.
Well, yeah, completely nothing. 21 seconds, 0.087, the fastest time set here in front of us, right the way through. Well, Romney down at 23.9. The reason I'm a little bit slow in talking about it is because I'm hunting on my screen for the Cat 1 pack. Well, they are pretty much mixed with the riders from 50th down.
Come on, that's wakey.
Well, I think they saw wakey right at the beginning when they hit that climb, but now they've settled into their rhythm, and they've settled into the rhythm through the Sydney Sprint before they go into that tunnel under the water and then progress to the climb of 15.3 kilometres into this race.
They're still asleep. 13 seconds.
Not asleep.
They are 13 seconds Vidal Mayer has got on them now. 13 seconds. That's not 3. That's not 4. That's 13 seconds, that gap. That is because he's pushing up. He's going to have a great amount of sliding room if he's not feeling up for the climb. And if he is feeling up for the climb, they've just given away a whole load of time to him. They can't be doing that. It's not like it's me gone down the road. This is absolute class on wheels on the course.
Well, I'll tell you something. They're picking up the pace at the moment because Bjorklund's heart rate's gone from 132 to 145 in the time you have been talking. So the pace picking up now. Well, the pace is picking up because they're on a slight rise at the moment, but they're on a rise and they're chasing Vidal Mayer. Their 13-second gap. Can they start to close that down? But Mayer will already be over the other side.
He will, and at the moment he's on that descent that you can see.
He's out of sight.
It's a long. I told you it was a long way. I told you they were just chatting away, talking about decorating or something. I don't know. They're gone over the top now. These riders are making their way over the top of the ascent. This takes them basically over the top of the bridge. We then drop down into the descent. Now, when we've gone down the descent, it levels out in the base, and it's about 1 kilometre of flat in the bottom, and then we're on the ascent. And that ascent is going to be critical because if they do not hurry up, we're going to see Vidal Mayer up there. Now, I don't want to give any spoilers away.
I'm sorry, but I'm giggling here because I have to say the number of bike races I've been part of, I cannot ever remember talking to anybody, any other competitor or teammate about decorating whilst riding or racing.
I once asked professional bike rider, what they were talking about in the group when they were riding along. He said, anything but cycling. Generally decorating. When they start just chatting along, it's DIY, decorating, all the things that normal non-bike riders get up to. They talk about that when they're there, because once the racing's in action, then they have to focus on that. But they're talking about what they were doing, for the weekend, where they were going, all those sorts of things.
Well,
you can't talk on the climb.
The racing is in action. Von Haren, Simmons, Krasnich.
There's no talking on here. These guys are on this ascent out, and this is why it's so critical. Because if you push here, it's going to level out, isn't it? And that's where you can make the difference. The riders in Category 1, they're still on the descent in that main bunch. They are trying to close down on Vidal-Mer, who's off the front, and they're still a long way behind Category 2 because they've been dawdling.
Well, they've had a much steadier start today. I don't know whether I would call it dawdling. I'm looking at the heart rates thinking that is quite comfortable, isn't it? Bjorklund's heart rate down to 129. That is a nice bit of rest going on there, but there's no rest at the moment from Dont and from Graves and from Montoya and from Simmons. Simmons is up and out of the saddle on that bike on the bottom left-hand side of your screen. His avatar may be sat down, but he isn't, continuing to push right up and through the group. The group, it is so strong looking at the riders in there. Hoyos is there. Simmons, Bengstrom, Graves. Graves is keeping himself a little bit hidden at the moment in this Category 2 race. Like one of the riders we were chatting about in the women's race today, Graves finds himself right on that border between Cat 1 and Cat 2 and often moves between those two categories dependent upon the race field. Well, this is Cat 3 and they are well and truly on that climb. They're about to start working their way through the back of the Category 4 race. In fact, they've already picked up one or two riders. If you take a look at the bottom left-hand side of your screen, that is the Cambera climb unfolding in front of our riders, and those are the Category 4 riders ahead of them.
It's dot to dot ahead. Can they join them up? Can they link these dots and use them as stepping stones to move forward? Nicol Cansara on the front. Giuliano and Largo, Casumana, Rodriguez, Montella, Manoia coming up behind. They've got to get onto the wheels, though, of Nicol Cansara. We know he can climb it. He's come to the fore when it matters.
I've got some interesting information about Nicol Cansara.
Go on.
He is indeed Phil Graves' next door neighbour.
You are kidding me.
No.
You are absolutely kidding me. And you said something very rude on there.
So, Category 2, Phil Graves, Nicol Cansara. Category 3 is Phil Graves' next door neighbour in the UK. Now, this for me is a challenge. I want every rider on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club, whether female or male, to try and encourage their next door neighbour to get on the MyWhoosh platform. They don't need to come and race the Sunday Race Club, but get on board, get on a bike. Pedal in your own home on MyWhoosh. If you do want to come and join the Sunday Race Club, head over to mywhoosh.com, click on the events page where you'll find all the information you need about joining the Sunday Race Club. The men's race field is yo-yoing between 180 and 200 a week. Let's make it over 200. The women's has topped 100 on the Sunday Race Club now for the last few weeks. How quickly can we make that race field catch up with the men's in terms of numbers? I don't think it's going to be long, but if you can grab a neighbour, grab a friend and bring them on board, it'll be all that quicker.
It will. I was just thinking, we have neighbours either side of the Full Speed Events studio. And one side definitely won't be jumping on MyWhoosh, but they will be watching. They are definitely sports spectators rather than participants. On the other side, though, there is a very handy runaround rider, actually. Maybe we should see if we could get them on board. So if you see somebody called Ed with all of the insider information riding, you'll know where he's come from. Right. We're going to go back with our two neighbours. They're next-door neighbours in real life. They're next-door neighbours on the screen. Phil Graves and Nicol Cansara, both in action here on the screen. Both are pushing on at the moment. Cansara has forced a selection in Category 2 as they make their way along one of the platforms on the climb. They're at 17.7K. They're going to hit the next section of climbing. The gradient's starting to go up. Category 2, They're on the way towards the climb. They're at 13.5k, so they're basically about 2k off the start of the climb, whereas the leaders in category 3 are 2k into the climb. But we are going to start to see a lot more confusion in category 3 than we see in category 2, because we're about to hit a big long chain of category 4 riders. And that's on the right hand side of your screen. Can Cambera take this out? He's working really well on the front of this group. I'm really, really impressed by that group, though. They've held him. They've pulled him back. That is a big pack. That looks to me to be about 15 riders with about another 8 behind.
Let me just put this into perspective. Cambera actually took the win on the outer loop course in Qualifier 2 in January. This is the course he's won on before. He has had top fives and he has had some strong rides, but this was his win. This course really suited him, and I think he's taking that motivation from then into this race today.
Now you can just see that we've hit the climb. Is the motivated man, Mr. X100. He's gone to the front here. He's realised that I think that it's going to be up to the UAE clan team to take up the reins when the pressure is on. They're coming up to the top of the climb. He's going to pressurise over the top here. He's out the saddle. He knows that Mayor at the moment is sitting nearly 30 seconds down the road, and they think it's time. He said enough is enough. Wakey, wakey, boys and girls, time to hit the top of the climb. I'm going to drag you over here, and we are now going to start working like a proper Category 1 pack.
And do you think that the teams have been looking at each other in Cat 1 thinking, well, go on, you're the team that won last week, you take this on. No, you're the team, UAE clan team, you take this on. Do you know what? Coalition Alpha, it's your turn. No, Pantosid, it's yours. Do you think they've been doing a bit of that? And do you think that is why Mayor has got such a big gap?
Partly. I think also because he's absolutely class on wheels, but there you go. Now, just took a little look at Christoph Kroll there, just keeping an eye on the screen at the side as well as the screen on the front. Now, one of the reasons to do that is because you will have multiple screens up. So the first screen that all the riders will be looking at is a bit like you're seeing and we're seeing now, which is the riders' screen for Christoph Kroll. This is the actual riding screen, but a lot of the riders will ride with the live show going beside them, because it then gives you an alternative view of what the riders are doing. And it might be that it's on a category that's not yours. So for Christoph at the moment, we just switched category 2. This is not going to help him particularly, but it does also give an indication, if we are watching another category, of where the moves may be made. It does give you a heads up on potential options for the riders to take on. Category 2 have just hit the base of the climb. We're just riding in with Phil Graves. He's known as Phil rather than Philip by most people. He's known by plenty of things, actually, by lots of people, but we can't repeat them on air. Phil on to the climb nicely at the moment. It's only because I've got bike envy as they come up here. Thank you, Phil, for the picture of your bike. It's aspirational for me. One day I might actually get on a time trial bike again.
I like a Ridley.
I like a Colnago, but I haven't got one of those either.
Oh.
Although I have to say, I'm not sure I'd want it to get in the same state that Tadej Pogacar and the UAE clan team and all the riders' bikes were in on Strade Bianche. If you haven't watched it back, speak of the devil, here is Phil Graves on there, on that Ridley, very nice bike. We only get a little picture of it. I'm loving, though, the Yorkshire flag in the background. So for those of you not familiar, you may have seen this out. When you go to a bike race out and around the world, you'll see two flags generally from the UK. One flag is the UK flag, the traditional Union flag. This is the flag of Yorkshire. And when we had the Tour de France come to Yorkshire, and when the Tour de Yorkshire was there, that blue flag became synonymous with the Greater Republic of Yorkshire.
There is another very famous rider from the UK, though, who is from Yorkshire. A certain Mr. Tom Pidcock.
And Lizzie Dynam, multi-time world champion.
True, but that is why the Yorkshire flag is quite often seen on the roads all around the world.
It is indeed. I may even take one with me. Oh, I don't even know where mine's gone, actually. But I was going to say I'll take mine with me next time I go to the UAE as a present to them from Yorkshire. You never know. We'll see. I don't think Mr. X100 needs any flags flying to know that he's on a mission, because he is trying to close down the gap. He's got a third of the distance out of the gap between him and Vidal Mayer. He is making his way across here. And if Mr. X100 and Vidal Mayer start working together, remember that we are on the run into the climb, and Mr. X100 is now getting sliding room, because he's a rider who can sit at a really high pace for a long time, but he doesn't have the same scary peaks that some of the other riders have. So he can keep that pace going for a long time. So he needs this climb almost to be longer, and he's doing that. He's putting the power down now, and effectively lengthening that climb to be able to get up there. He's chasing Mare, the rider on the right-hand side of your screen. Mare just diving across the road here, using that steering that's on MyWhoosh. Remember, it'll be coming to Apple TV very shortly indeed. The beta testing finishes on Monday, so expect sometime in the next week to 10 days to be seeing the launch officially on MyWhoosh on social media. And make sure you jump on board. Looking forward to seeing who jumps on once we get that Apple TV launch. Mr. X100, though, he's nailing it at the moment. He's not using the steering. He's just focused on getting the power down. Vidal Mare hugging the center of the line. He's about to get to the start of the climb. He's absolutely flying.
I wouldn't want to let this Norwegian rider go this far out. I really, really wouldn't. You know, absolutely surprising that the pack have given him 40 seconds now. He's not a rider to give 40 seconds to,
give him 4.
Well, he's ridden every single Esports World Championships for Norway.
Yep.
You know, 3 times he's been selected to represent his country at the Esports World Championships, and his power numbers, and you know what, he can sprint as well as ride, and he's showing us now that he's about to start this climb. He's got 22 seconds on X100, he's got 45 seconds on the chasing pack, and he's continuing to set a tempo at around 4.3, 4.4, 4.5 watts per kilo. It's a strong time trial pace, but I tell you something, Matt, he can hold that pace for a very long time.
I know, and this is what I think. What we're seeing though is we're seeing riders who know that their strength is holding a long pace for a long time, going off early, trying to make it hard from the gun. The pack have not responded. Look at the numbers: 3.1, 3.2, 3.9. They're across the road. There are riders coming in at the back. This is they are going to gamble. They're gambling at the moment. They are gambling. They're going to put it all on the climb. They're putting it all on the red that was on your profile. Every single chip they've got, they're putting it on red. They're putting it on the climb.
They're trying to make this a 30k race, not a 45k race.
I think they're making this, what is a 5.4 kilometer race. They're making it a race to the summit because they're going to aim on closing everything down on that climb. The distance they've got to close down is not key here because it's going to change as the rider in front goes on to the climb. It's the time that it will count. Vidal Mare is on there. He has got a gap fast approaching a minute. Well, in fact, over a minute now on the riders behind, and 20 plus seconds to Mr. X100. It's not going to be the same at the top of the climb, but what will it be?
This is going to be one fast and furious climb today. That's my prediction. But Mare wearing that green skin suit, very difficult to pick out from the riders in Category 2 in those green jerseys as he taps his way up this climb. X100 very clearly in yellow. The only thing yellow about Mare is his cap.
It is indeed, and they are up the road. If you look on the left-hand side of your screen, you'll see the blob going underneath the polka dot arch, the start of the climb. At the top of this climb, you will see the finish of the climb indicated by that polka dot arch once again. In Category 4, they are on the way up. At the moment, it's Sami Tuomi who has got the lead from Mathias Kalman, then David Winfield, Mark Dadson, and Stephen Newman rounding out the top 5 at the moment. But the man with the gap is Tuomi, who has opened a gap on Kalman, Winfield, Newman, and co. And it looks to me like the Finnish rider has got a good-sized gap and is holding it well. So he's timed his move very, very well indeed.
And that's the polka dot banner ahead of him, Matt. He's got 200 metres to the banner. The top of the banner is not the top of the climb. He's got a little bit further to go, but he is nearly there. And that gap of 40 plus seconds, phenomenal riding.
So 40 plus seconds for Sam Tuomi. Great riding, as Emma says. Left-hand side of your screen, they've woken up. Somebody's given them a little bit of a kick and gone, you know, we said we were going to go on the climb. We need to get on with it because they're on it now. This is where it's going to count. How fast can he pull the gap down? 40 plus seconds to Mare at the moment, who's holding 5.5 watts per kilo pretty consistently at the moment on the climb. They are chasing the way onto the climb as approaching the upper levels of the climb comes the Category 3 lead. The leader, Nikhil Kansara, setting the pace on the front. Is he doing too much here, Emma? Because he's towing the rest of the group up. They're 12 kilometres an hour at the moment. They're not going to be getting much draft, but they will be getting some.
Well, I'll tell you something, there's 12 riders in that group, Matt. That's 12 riders who I think are very well matched. Cansara, Giuliano, Largo, Moreno, Didoch, Connell, all have had top fives. Rodriguez is there as well. So is Al Remethri. You know, all of these riders are capable of being in the top five. I think there's almost got to be an acceptance at some point that this is going to be 12 riders going in for a sprint at the end of this outer loop course.
Now, Nico Cansara is on the front. He's doing the work. You just said there's very little difference between the riders.
Yeah.
He's expending more energy because he's on the front, because he's pushing through the wind, even though it's not.
But sometimes you have to ride your own pace.
Is he riding to his? Is he racing to his strength? His strength is on the climb. He's racing to it. He's making everybody hurt, even though they're putting out less power, because they are able to take a little bit of drafting in there. He's still making them hurt, and that means they're not going to be as strong at the end. But there's a long way to the finish.
There is a long way.
That gives a lot of time for recovery.
It does give a lot of time for recovery. And there's one thing, setting your own pace on the climb, because that makes you feel more comfortable, because you are going at your pace rather than trying to ride at somebody else's pace. You know, you're right, there is still a long way to go. There's nearly 15 kilometres to go. And if you can then sit in the pack for a bit and take a breather, you know, we know he knows what he's doing, because he won this race when they were on the course last time.
Indeed. Now we are making our way back up with Category 1. Will we see Michael Nutten able to put in a repeat performance and take a win here? He's onto the climb. He's chasing Mistakes 100. He's almost pulled back the entire gap that was opened. As he comes in here, Kaminsky with Justin Safrazadi on here. Mistakes 100 is now absorbed within that group. You can see that he's climbing at 5.5 watts per kilo. He's starting to be eclipsed by the kick that's coming. Kaminsky is the rider who's pushing the hardest at the moment at 8.6, 8.7 watts per kilo. They've brought back the rider from the UAE clan team, and now it's Kaminsky from Coalition Alpha Joe who's gone over the top. The gap to Mare has absolutely been decimated. It's down at 11 seconds.
Nice move. That's all I can say from the Coalition Alpha Joel squad. Ollie Jones coming over the top of Kaminsky. They got the catch. They got the catch to X100. The pack go, oh, we've made the catch. But no, Kaminsky kicks again. Jones goes as well, continuing to put the power down, continuing to make anybody who thought there was any respite in that front pack of these Category 1 riders, anybody thought there was going to be a break, anybody thought there was going to be a wrestle, they were wrong.
Were wrong. And how were they wrong? Because here we go. We are now going on to the second of those flat platforms. They've got Vidal Mare in sight. Mare already onto the flatter section. This is shorter. This is 2/3 of the way up the climb. They are 2/3 of the way up the big climb, the only real classic climb that we have on here. And Savrazad looking good at the moment, so he's really pushing. You can see him on the left of your screen at the moment, really keeping that wound up. But this group now know that they need to make the top of this climb count. They have got a small group. It's probably about, well, just under 50% of the race field that was due to start this morning are still left in this group. We have got Tolbert, we've got Justin Kaminsky, Jones, Coalition Alvajor in here. We've got the clan team in here. I'm sure I've just seen a number of the riders in here from the Paint Toasted squad as well. We've got people like the world champion in here, Andreasen. We've got some very strong riders who at the moment are not in, it seems. So will they be able to make this? Zach Nair looking like he's keeping out of trouble at the moment. Is he saving himself for later? He's a very smart cookie and a smart rider.
Well, they're all smart cookies and smart riders in this pack, as we're in with Pim van Diemen coming up now. That is the green skin suit ahead, not the green jersey. That is indeed the rider that we are chasing at the moment. That is Vidal Mares. We're back in with X100, now off the back of the group after having been on the front of the group, but sitting at that comfortable pace. He's got Bjorklund behind him, Jacobs in front of him. Jacobs, Plantero and Knudsen are watching the back of the group ahead. They are continuing to tap up the hill. They've got, well, it's 2.6 kilometers still of climbing to go. It's a long way up this Cambera climb till they get to the top.
And you can see now that when the riders are distanced from that main group, David Talbot, Arnie Jacobs have been distanced out of the main group. Their watts per kilo drop from the 5+ down to the 3s. That's allowing Mr. X100 on the left of your screen, who's sitting consistently at 5.5 watts per kilo, to close down the position. So you can see he's about to make the junction. He's coming up on them. Are they going to take advantage of the consistency, the metronomic pace that's being set by Mr. X100? He's just shouted for them to jump on board and take a turn. You saw that emote with the little circle there. Jump on board. Arnie Jacobs is able to respond to this, but I don't think David Talbot can. Talbot now being distanced at 4 seconds. So Jacobs, the only rider that could go with Mr. X100. They are trying to close down the gap to the leaders, and Vidal Mayer has gone from being at the front to being the last rider in the group. This is key, and you can see Mr. X100 have the controls down. He's like, let's go, let's go. This is the time to move. Let's sit at this pace. Let's keep the gap down. Don't let that distance go out. Mayer is the nearest rider to them. He's on the back of the group. This is where the gradient is at about 10.5%. It's not at its steepest yet, but we are still not at the summit. Remember, the summit comes at a distance of 20.7k into this race route. There is still plenty of distance at the top, and at the moment, they are really working hard. Now, I think Zach Nair has gone pop with a pace on the front, still get that confirmed. And at the moment, the rider who's winding it up is Said Safrazetti, who's got the kick on at the moment. The close down has come from Kaminsky and Vajassin at the moment. Van Elst is with them. So two of the Coalition Alpha Joe squads are making their way across here. But looks to me like Kaminsky right up in the mix here. They've got to keep on pushing, though, because they've got a little bit of a gap on the riders behind. Mayer now being distanced left-hand side of your screen. Tell you something, Bjorn Andreasson is on the rivet at the moment. He's being distanced. So is Christoph Kuhl, Mikkel Plantero, Ricardo Panizza at the moment. They are going.
This group is pulling apart at the moment. It was 12 very, very short time ago. It's now 10, and I think it's moving towards 8. I was about to say, and now I think it's going to be 8 as we swing around this corner. We are dropping riders like flies at the moment, but let's not forget Arnie Jacobs and Mr. X100 are time trialing their way up the mountain behind. They are going to pick up the riders who are dropped. Now, if we can get to the top of this climb, they're at 19.1 at the moment. The top is 20.7. When they go over the top, it is a 24.3 kilometre run into the finish. If there is a chase group rather than 1s and 2s, it is going to serve them better.
They will do, but I think we've just seen an attack go off the front as we've gone on to the levelling off here. I think that has come from Vajassin. He's gone over the top. He's kicked on. He used his momentum to drive through over the crest of the climb onto the flat. It's only very short, though, but it's given him a run in. Now, the rest of the group had to respond. Can they carry more momentum on? And they are a little, but not a huge amount. They're only just going to get onto his wheel here, so they couldn't use the group pack size to their advantage. They're on the left-hand side. Those are the leaders in Category 1, with Vajassin setting the tempo on the climb at the moment. On the right-hand side of your screen, they are the leaders in Category 2. So Jeliski, we've got Gomber, Van He, Graves, Quintero, Bainson, Kranich, and Khan, all in this group and more. There are a lot of riders in the pack, and there are a lot of riders in close contention behind you. You can see this green train at the moment leading up here. They have a gap at the moment. I reckon that is going to be probably about the 25-30 second marker. And then there's another big train of riders, remembering that the top of this climb is at less than half race distance.
Yeah, and this is really interesting in Category 2. I think we've got about 8 riders clear at the moment, and you can see a big gap back. But once you get to that chase group, it's a huge chase group. And now this is going to be really interesting, this long transition to the finish line. Can this group of 8 stay clear, or will there be a catch? But Kayan is the 9th rider on the road at the moment. He's 4 seconds distance from the group. He's going to have to work really, really hard to catch back on and utilize the momentum going over the top of this descent to get back on, because he's in no man's land at the moment. He's not with the front 8. He's not with that huge group of riders just coming up underneath the polka dot banner behind. So he's really going to have to make a call very, very quickly.
and he's been distanced. He's not had enough time to get a recovery into them, put a massive sprint into the downhill to build his speed and momentum. He really is in a very, very awkward position there. Very, very difficult place to be. Now, one man who at the moment has definitely got it under control, I think, is Say Safra. He's looking very, very good. For Justin with him, Kaminsky. That's category 1, top left of your screen, top right hand side of your screen. In the same world, you can see that we are with Ruben Domp, but this leading group of riders on the descent, making the way down at over 70 kilometers an hour. The riders in category 3 and 4 in the category 3 lead and the category 4 lead, they are on the flatlands. And now this is about tactics and it's about drafting, because both category 3 and category 4 can ride together and draft. You're seeing that on the left-hand side of your screen. You're seeing the category 3 leaders being, I was going to say, being the pace setters here, but I think as much as anything, they are the inspiration to the category 4 riders they are with, and they are going to be pulling back the leaders in category 4. All these groups are going to come together, I suspect, but we will see. Meanwhile, on the climb, where it's not about draft, it's about being able to set the rhythm and tap out the pace. Line of adjusted up on to the front now. Can he kick clear the man from Coalition Alpha? You're taking his turn this time round is Vujasin. He's got Safra for company. 3 seconds back to Van Diemen and 9 seconds to Kaminsky. They could break clear here.
Well,
would you keep on going? Not sure I would.
Well, I'd be trying to put in as much gap as I can. Now, Vujasin was part and parcel of the squad who chased back on last time on this course and did indeed make the catch and ended up finishing in 3rd place. So he knows it is possible, but he also knows how much of a gap he thinks he needs for them not to catch. So Van Diemen is the rider here, pushing hard. We are in with Van Diemen, but Van Diemen is not at the front of this squad. They are 2 or 3 seconds further up the road, and that is Safra and Vujasin. Now, neither of those riders would I want to let go. Van Diemen continues to push. He sees the danger. He comes up onto the wheel. We've got a number of category 2 riders in the mix as well, but it's 13 seconds back now to the group with Kaminsky. So 3 riders in this category 2 race going underneath the polka dot banner side by side. The chase group, well, that contains Noren, Knudsen, Andreasen. Oh my goodness, they may well be back. They may well be not with this group, but can they make the catch? This is going to be a really interesting run for the finish, Matt. It's 24 kilometers. We're going to have to hang on to our hats to find out what happens.
Don't have a hat on.
Oh, well, you might not have a hat on, but our riders have got hats on the screen in front of us, and on the screen in front of us is Safrazad, Vujasin, Van Diemen, Jones, Kaminsky, Van Elst, Noren, and Knudsen. That's the top 8 through the climb in category 1. Angus Benston from Cat 2 sets the fastest time.
Big time gaps. Big time gaps. 19.5 seconds between Safra Jones coming through basically same time as Kaminsky, effectively the same time as Van Elst. Then Noren coming through 40 seconds down, 47 seconds down to Knudsen. Andreasen, the world champion, over a minute down on that climb. We're now in with Mr. X100. He's got Arnie Jacobs just in front. Then it's Zach Nair. These riders are on the climb. They've got Mayer for company as well. So 4 riders together. They have got the chance to work together, and this is where it's key. Become a group, work together. They're not, I think, in a position where they're going to close down on the group in front. It's 1 minute or so to Panizza and Co, who are the riders in front. It's another big pack in front. That's going to make it hard, but they will want to maintain their position. They'll want to do what they can for their team. They will want to be right up there. And at the moment, these riders, they're making their way through. Zapata of Category 2 jumping in with them. So Category 1 leaders over the top of the climb. They're on the way down into the descent. They've got a long way to go. Who so have, to be fair, the riders on our screens at the moment, they're at 30, just over 30k. And the leaders in Category 4, who are the furthest down the road at the moment, they're at 32.8. Well, it's still a long way to the finish here, Emma.
There is still a long way to finish, but the 6 leading riders are just being joined by the couple of riders who've just been stretched off the back there to make a group. Well, it's 6 clear, 7th, 8th have got a 5-second gap back. Then if we take a look on the left-hand side of your screen, this is the big group chasing. This is the leaders in Category 3 with the chasers in Category 4 all together.
What happened to Sammy Tuomi?
He is 12 seconds off the back of that leading group.
After going through as the fastest rider up the climb, Sammy Tuomi has lost that time. He's hemorrhaged time on that downhill. I could only think that he's missed a gap. He's missed something. There's been a gap open. He's been caught on the wrong side of it because he was so strong on that climb. Either that or he blew it. He took your words quite almost too literally, and he thought his finish line was at the top of the climb, and then he's in trouble.
Well, you still got to be able to stay with the group on the descent and the flat. It depends on how fast they're motoring. But Safrazeli and Vujasin are the two motoring down the climb at the moment. They are clear of Van Diemen by 12 seconds. They are 20 seconds clear of the group containing Van Elst and Kaminsky. Have they done enough to stay clear the whole way? And I say the whole way with a huge exasperation because it's 19.7 kilometres they still have to race.
Not a chance.
Well,
absolutely not a chance.
Tadej Pogacar did it yesterday.
Tadej Pogacar did double the distance of blinking races away.
I know.
That man.
Anything is possible.
What I loved was I was just having a little look at it first thing today, that actually the distance that the UAE clan team had between their riders who were in the leading group and their lead rider in Pogacar, it was so far that the radio, the UAE Emirates team, they're interchangeable in my mind, believe me. The UAE Emirates team, the distance between them was so big the radios wouldn't work. They couldn't actually get radio reception between them because that is how big the gap had got. Because on the distance on the course, the terrain, the rise, the fall of the hills. Please do watch it back. It's one of those rides from the UAE Emirates rider that will go down in history. We know he's something special. We know he's amazing, but you do need to watch it back from start to finish. We had the pleasure of watching basically the entire race yesterday whilst we were doing the prep for today's shows. And it was mightily distracting, I have to admit. It did take us twice as long to do the prep as normal because of that. But, it was well worth it. Now, let's get back to the racing on MyWhoosh. We have got, at the moment, Phil Grace leading out Category 2 with Matthias Van He. They've got a little bit of a gap to Dalton Kranich, but it's hardly going to count at the moment as they come down into town. They're approaching 30 kilometres covered. Vujasin and Safrazeli, the lead riders in Category 1. They're trying to keep clear of the chasers behind, and they're using a lot of these Category 2 riders to do that. They're using the advantage of sitting in the draft with them and making the recovery. They're coming just up over this little rise here, and that is going to count.
Well, all of the categories here taking the opportunity to take a draft if one of the other categories comes past, because we've got a long run in to the finish and as much help as you can get. Absolutely important. Well, Newman, Winfield, Kalman, Caro, Neville, Ross are all in the mix here. 6 riders now clear in this Category 4 race, 5 places on the podium. So they are going to continue to race. Now, the challenge for this group of riders is that they still have 9.7k of racing to go. And behind them, the leaders in the Category 3 race will be bringing with them the chasers in the Category 4 race. So the challenge here is absolutely crucial that these riders, these 6 riders leading this Category 4 race, stay out the front as long as possible. They are currently 900 metres up the road. In fact, make that 1,000 metres up the road. And they are moving faster than this very large chase group.
They need to stay quicker. This is where it's about tactics. It's about making sure that you keep the pressure on. Look at Mark Dasson there.
Well, he knows what he needs to do.
He does. He's out of the sun. You can see they came down that descent. They're just going on to the rise. He's kicking his way up over the top. Mark Dasson, known for his attacking style, known for his aggression. He goes over the top. You see, sits back down here, takes a breath, relaxes his neck muscles there. He knows he's gone over in front. He doesn't need to watch the riders in front of him. They're behind him at the moment. He can do some recovery now as the group comes back towards him. He raced to his strengths, kicking hard over the top of the climb. Great to see that as he came in through. Now he'll pick the pace back up again as they come back up to him. And he went over the top. He used his pace, his power. He raced to his strengths. He made sure he went over there the most efficient way for him. And he's now done that. He's very much a kick rest rider, and definitely somebody to watch when we come to the finish, because he can sprint very quickly indeed. Now, back with Category 1, other end of the scale, because these are the yellow jersey Category 1, or should I say the yellow jersey and the polka dot skin suit, because we have Safazedi in that polka dot skin suit. The two riders on the front of this group at the moment are your two leaders in Category 1. I'm waiting to see what the gap back is to the chasing group. They're literally just about coming on our screen on the radar navigation. When we come round, you can just about see them poking out of the corner.
It's 20 seconds.
Oh,
just shy of 20 seconds. And it's a big chase group because Jones and Kaminsky are leading that group at the moment. And it's not just got Category 1 riders in. They're picking up Category 2 riders, and there are more Category 2 riders between these two groups. So even though the leaders in Category 1 are out of sight and out of mind, there are other riders in the middle to chase and use as motivation. So on the left-hand side of your screen, the two leaders, Justin and Safrazadi, mixed in with some Category 2 riders. On the right-hand side of your screen, these are the chasing riders, Kaminsky, Van Diemen, Van Elst, and Jones. The four of them are in here. Noren is 35 seconds back. He's mixed in with the Category 2 riders, because these four are motoring at a pace where no Category 2 rider can stay.
No one's able to hold the coattails at the moment. They are in trouble. This is difficult times for the chasers.
Well, Van Diemen is about to come up onto the back of Henry Yeast, the South African rider who lives in New Zealand, loves a bit of pizza, and has sent us a very nice message today. So if you, like Henry, want to get in touch and tell us about yourself, tell us what your favourite food is, tell us even if your flag is from Denmark and you live in Switzerland like Michael Knudsen, or you've got a South African flag like Henry Yeast and you live in New Zealand.
Yeah, do let us know.
Let us know. All that type of information helps. And if you want to drop your favourite food or your favourite decorating tip for Matt into that information, don't hesitate to get in touch. You can get in touch with me at Biking Emma. Matt, where can we get in touch with you?
You can get in touch with me at Biking Emma for decorating and at Matt Fix of Pain for all things bike racing and how it feels to be on the bike. Don't send me stats and numbers. Send them to Emma. Send me what it's like. I want to know how much it means to you. I want to know that emotion as you go over the line. I want to see where you're racing, where you're riding, because that is, for me, what racing is all about. It's about putting the action down. It's about giving it everything. It's about falling off like at the end of the race and you can't even stand because you've given it everything. And that's what's going to be the case, I think, for our lead riders, because they are up against it. The chasing group are at 28 seconds. I think the last time I saw, 28 seconds. They've got half a minute to make up. And time will run out very quickly. They've got 15 kilometers to do this. Now, they've got to choose. For me, there are two ways you can do this. One is can be just a little bit quicker everywhere, or you put a kick in, and then you hold the pace, and then you put a kick in, and you hold the pace. That's what you do if you're attacking. If you're attacking, you would just creep off the front slowly. You would attack, you establish a time gap, you would recover, you maybe attack again and get even more of a gap. Now, the guys behind have got to do almost the same thing, but from behind and move up. It's so hard to do. It's easy to say, it's so difficult to do. And we're seeing riders all over the place. Michael Knudsen, can you remember when Michael Knudsen wasn't in the lead group or the chase group? He's actually distanced from the chasers.
Well, Michael Knudsen was a rider on form last year, then suffered with illness through December and into January, and that's really taken the sting out of his legs. It's taken him a little bit of time to come and find that form again, and he's continuing to progress and continuing to work hard. And now it is really interesting because Knudsen there finishing in 5th through that sprint, pushing on through the section we've just taken a look at. But Cat 2 rider Walter Clay's setting the fastest time through that sprint, 19.6 seconds.
Fast times because it's on the flat for the 300 meters. But what's really key here is that Clay, Simmons, East, Hoyos are all in chasing groups. They are chasing. They're all part of this race in the Category 1, Category 2 battle.
They are hanging on tight to the coattails of those Category 1 riders. It makes them stronger. It makes them faster. It makes them progress and ride well. But they are hanging on, and they can only hang on for so long. Sergio Hoyos, I tell you something, he's doing a phenomenal job of trying to hang on to Vujacin and Safrazadi. There he is again, kicking on the climb and catching back up. This is doing his fitness phenomenally well, his racecraft, because the benefit of this, he's also getting a tow up to the riders in front, and the riders in front, Ritter, Mendakowicz, are all up there. They are 40 seconds down the road. If Hoyos and Romy can stay on with Vujacin and Safrazadi, they are going to get there quicker.
It's going to be close. A really, really an intriguing battle here as we are starting to approach the 10 kilometre to go marker for the riders on the right-hand side of your screen. They are the leaders in Category 2. The riders are behind about 2K down at the moment. The chasers in Category 2 and the leaders in Category 1. In Category 3-4 World, that's the bottom half of your screen. You can see that on the right-hand side of your screen. The leaders on the road are the leaders in Category 4. Newman, Dadson, Caro, Kalman, Neville, Ross, all looking very, very good there. Brilliant to see. Left-hand side, no, it's a real mix.
Well, those Category 4 riders, Matt, that leading group of 6, they've held that distance to the chase group since we saw them last. The gap is absolutely identical. It's still 1,000 metres.
And they've only got 5,000 metres or less to go because they've gone past the 40K mark at the front of the race now in the Category 3-4 World. So at the moment, 5K to go on the bottom of your screens. We've got near a 10K to go on the top of your screens. And this will come down to who has got something left, who can ride that draft, which group is going to come together where, and have they got the timing right? Have they been smart in what they're putting their energy into? How much of it can they afford to expend, and how much are they going to leave for what will be a sprint? Now, I've had the pleasure of putting words to the action and calling the women's race finish earlier on. And right now, I'm thinking that was a very, very good move because it means that Emma will be calling what is going to be a sprint at the end of this. So this
I love a sprint. Let's not forget, Matt, that the finals last week in Category 3, 20 seconds separated the top 15 riders. 15 riders came in to a sprint on the Paso Alto in Cat 3 last week.
Yep. It could be a sprint anywhere on MyWhoosh. We know that. But I think we are going to see an even bigger sprint. This is going to be absolute confusion city in Category 3-4 and in Category 1-2. Because you've got to remember that these riders, when they're racing, not just are you putting down the best performance you can, but you're having to watch the tactics. You're having to watch the groups. You need to watch the time checks. You need to know how far you've got to go. You've got to refuel. You've got to get drinks on board. You've got to get food on board. And you're doing all that whilst you're going through. You've got the sprints going off around you. You've got all of this race action, and you need to make sure you keep this nailed.
Well, keeping it nailed at the moment are those 6 riders at the front of the Cat 4 race, keeping it nailed in Category 1. It's Vujacin and Safrazadi who are continuing. Do you know what? They're stretching the gap, Matt.
I know.
They are now 30 plus seconds clear of the chase group. That's around 10 to 12 seconds of a gap they've put in. They are continuing to push because they're moving into the last 10 kilometres of this race. They are working really well together. The pace has come off of the chase group behind. So Vujacin and Safrazadi, the 2 riders working here. Lionel Vujacin in the mix at the moment, pushing on. Safrazadi in 2. Van Elst and Van Diemen Jones and Kaminsky group now over 40 seconds back.
Well, it's amazing, right? I said earlier I didn't have a hat on, but if I did, I'd be taking it off to these two riders because they are putting in a storming performance. They're keeping that gap there. They have to keep working, though. They know they've still got, sorry, guys, just under 10K to go. This is a long way to go to the finish. When you get to single digits, 5K, then you think, yep, this is us. It could still all go wrong. They're so got to get the pace right here. The pairing, we've just seen Lando Justin. We're now looking at Sainz Safrazetti in here. Both riders are working really, really hard here. If the pair of them can stay clear, this will be a phenomenal performance. There's not going to be anything left of them at the end of this race because they are right on the limit and they can't afford to blow. If you blow, you're going to go out the back at the group. It's going to come past you like an express train, but you can't sit too far down, can you? You've got to be right on the limit. So fine.
That is absolutely true. But these riders will know what their limit is. They will know to the heartbeat what their limit is and what they are capable of and what point they will blow. This is one of the chases behind. And you know what? This is X100. And last time we saw Mr. X100, he was with Arne Jacobs, wasn't he, in terms of chasing? Just trying to take a little bit of a look up the road. It looks like they're around 50 seconds off of the chase group up ahead. It's Vidal Mayer, the leader that we had for some time in this racing category 1 with him. Jacobs not there at the moment, but they are around a minute down from the chasing group. Now, so Safrazad and Vujacin are leading in the category 1 race. They still have 22 riders in the category 2 race ahead of them. And that race in itself has been hotting up. Back down the road, the category 1 riders, X100 and Mayer, pushing on, trying to chase down the chasing group. But if you look at the bottom left-hand side of your screen, what you can see now is 3 groups of category 2 riders in between them and what is the chasing group in the category 1 race.
So all left to play for, to use the well-hackneyed commentary phrase. And we're into that little bumpy section that comes at 38K in to the race route. It will flatten out again as we go in towards the Melbourne Sprint, which comes at 41.8 to 42.1K. The riders at the moment in category 4 leader, they've gone past that, and Mathias Kalman has attacked here. He has tried to break the group just coming in at the moment. He is at 44 kilometers. He has 1,000 meters, 1K to go to the finish. Mathias Kalman with a 2-second gap.
Well, the response is coming from Newman and Dadson, Neville, Ross and Winfield still in the mix. Just 3 seconds separating the top 5 riders in this category 4 race. They're going to be the first race field to finish today in Australia on the outer loop. It's a 5-man breakaway, a 6-man breakaway for some time now in this category 4 race, and they have stayed clear of the chase group behind. The chase group behind containing the leaders in the category 3 race and the chase group in category 4. But at the moment, it is Kalman pushing on. He's got 5 seconds now. The chase from behind, well, they've not wound it up yet.
They need to wind it up soon. They've got 400 meters to go. Kalman has got the gap. Can they bring him down? Here they come.
Well, Kalman continues to push. He's up at 6 watts per kilo. He went early in this group. A 6-man group in the category 4 race. And Mathias Kalman pushed on early. He went with a K to go. Neville Ross now trying to answer him, kicking at 12 watts per kilo. Newman coming in hot at 9 with Caro and Dabben. But Kalman has got it. He sees the banner. Underneath the UCI banner, Mathias Kalman takes the win in the category 4 race from Neville Ross, from Dadson, from Caro and Newman, rounding out the top 5.
So great ride by them. A fantastic run for the line there by Kalman, doing a Vladislav Ekimov going clear with a 1K breakaway in to the finish. We've seen the same thing happen before where riders have gone clear on races like the Milan San Remo, which is coming up not too long. This is the run, though, for the line behind a big group in here. And this is our Category 3 leaders with Category 4 riders on board.
Well, it is indeed Cambera who's gone, and he's gone long here. So Nico Cambera has taken a look at what's just happened in that Cat 4 race, and he's thought about giving it a go too. So he's gone long with 800 metres to go. He's kicking hard. Who can respond? Connell's behind. So is Alvarez. So is Moreno and Giuliano. But nobody is responding at the moment. It's Cambera. We saw him on the climb. Phenomenal effort on the Cambera climb. Earned him that polka dot banner. But it's Cambera continuing to the banner, to the UCI. He goes underneath the finish banner. Nico Cambera takes the win with a sprint behind in Category 3.
And they were coming at seriously high pace there. There were 10 watts per kilo. They almost had him on the line there. So close coming in to the finish. Making the way in a really good race in Category 3 and in Category 4. The riders now on the way. It's Category 2. They are at just over 3.7 kilometers to the finish. And that is in Category 2. Category 1, our two riders are clear at the front. Safazedi and Vujasin making the way in to the finishing line. Can they stay clear? The chase is on behind. It's braking as they keep on pushing.
Well, it continues to break as they keep on pushing, and they are indeed pushing, as we're seeing Van Elst in here with Jones continuing to push, continuing to work. These three riders now clear of Noren, absolutely working hard. It's Ritter from Category 2, who is the next rider to see them. And they've got 40 seconds to Montoya, who will be the next rider they pick up the road. But further up the road are the leaders in this Category 1 race, and they have not caught them yet.
Dum, 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 dum.
Oh, Matt is predicting a catch.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. They've worked too hard to let this go now. I would be turning myself inside out on the front to stay clear. I don't think they're going to be caught. However, there are still places in the top 5. Remember, prizes for riders in each of our categories in the top 5 of each category here on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club, as we see Stefan van Elst making his way down here, just taking on board some fluids. He's got just under 5k to the finish, just under 5,000 meters to go, and you can just see the little bit of a squeeze here from Jones. It's not a huge amount of watts per kilo, but it's enough just to cause riders just to pay attention here, as Jones from the Coalition Alpha Jaw squad is the one just holding the pace. He's got Van Elst on his heels here, and Demon makes his way up. Interesting to see Johan Noren, who was really instrumental early on in the race. At the moment, he's not quite in that top 5.
No, so Jones, Van Elst and Van Diemen all in the mix for 3rd, 4th and 5th position in this Category 1 race at the moment. Safrazadi and Vujasin are the 2 riders clear in 1st and 2nd, but they have 4 riders for company, and those 4 riders, well, they are the chase group in Category 2. So pushing on at the front of Cat 2, though, it is Quintero with Bengston, Van He, Kranich and Graves. It's looking like 5 riders clear now in the Category 2 race. It's 13 seconds back to Dont, 20 seconds back to Jean-Bert. Those riders now not in the mix for this top 5 positions in Category 2. They're at 43.3 kilometres. Well, 1.7k to go. It's 5 riders in the mix, and Quintero continues to lead this out.
So Quintero, Bengston, Van He, Graves and Kranich, the 5 riders looking to see who's going to take away those 5 prizes. 26 seconds, and realistically it should be theirs. In Category 1, we have our 2 escapees, a line of Justin and Said Safrazedi. They are the riders who are giving a chase to the leaders in Category 2. They are the riders who are leading Category 1, and they are absolutely flying at the moment as they make the way down here. They have to try and stay clear. They're very difficult to identify because we have basically got a polka dot skin suit and a green skin suit because they are absolutely nailing it on the way through. They are on the way around. Meanwhile, we are in with our category 2 leaders. These are the leading 5 riders. You can see 4 of them on your screen now. 5 as Krasnich comes up onto the heels. They're going to take the right hand turn. If it goes straight on, it would actually take them up the Wollongong climb. They're going to turn right here, and that'll take them away from the climb, which the riders are going to be very pleased about. And then they are going to be making the way in around those twists and turns. This is really key, though, that they keep themselves focused here. They need to make sure they're not going to think too much about the finish and more about watching each other, because we've seen that in the category 3 and 4. Long rides have taken the win. Long sprints, early kick out has worked. Will it happen in category 2? And we've only got 2 riders at the front at the moment in category 1.
Well, they take that right-hand turn with 700 metres to go. There's 600 metres to go now in this category 2 race, and 5 riders in the mix. They're all looking at each other. It's Krasnich who kicks first at 8 watts per kilo. Who is going to respond? Phil Graves. Bengston is responding. So is Van Heat and Quintero. Quintero is coming from the back of the pack as Anders Bengston comes over the top. He's in the polka dot skin suit, signifying the best on the climb today. But Van Heet and Quintero are coming. Quintero is coming, but Matthias Van Heet goes over the top. This is 2 side by side. Quintero comes over again. So does Van Heet. I think Van Heet's going to take that from Quintero, from Benson, from Krasnich, from Graves. That was a phenomenal sprint. What a category 2 finish.
0.066 of a second separating first and second place there as they came in and around. An amazing finish. It wasn't about who kicked first that time. It was about who kicked at the right time. The 12 watts per kilo kick that came early didn't pay off that time round, and it was the riders who put those 11.5, 12 watts per kilo kicks at the finish that were battling it out. Van Heet and Quintero from Bengtsson, from Graves, from Krasnich. Great racing in category 2, 3, and 4. And that leaves us category 1 to be decided. We have on the left-hand side of the screen our 2 leaders, say Safrazad and Lionel Vujasin. They're being chased by Van Elst and co. A little bit further back down the pack, Mr. X100 is steadily making his way up and past riders here, and he's propelling himself up into towards the group. He's making his way towards the turn, the overpass, Vink overpass as it's known when we ride this as part of the Wollongong loop. We're here on outer loop, and this means that we are going almost the opposite direction round. Our leaders, they are motoring. They are on 600 now, 500 meters to go. They've done the right-hand turn. Emma, who's this going to be? Take us to the finish.
Well, they've got 500 metres, 400 metres to go. Vujasin and Safrazedi. It's Safrazedi who kicks first. Vujasin responds. Lionel Vujasin is kicking. I don't think he can be out-sprinted, but Safrazedi is going to have something to say about it. Nope, he's not. Lionel Vujasin is going to win this race today. He's going to win qualifier or number 1 in March. He's taken it out, a 2-man breakaway, but it's Vujasin at the end of the day who crosses the line in first. So Lionel Vujasin taking the win from the side. Safrazedi in this race on the outer loop in Australia in category 1, as we see the 3 riders coming into the last 500 metres. This is the race for 3rd, 4th and 5th. Ollie Jones, Pim van Diemen, Stefan van Elst coming in there 20 seconds clear of Johan Noren. He's not going to make the catch, but it's Jones who opens up here. Van Diemen and Van Elst also in the mix. Jones kicks, he kicks hard. Van Elst goes as well, but I think this is going to be Jones's today for 3rd place. Jones takes 3rd, Van Elst 4th, Van Diemen in 5th.
So that's your top 5 coming in and through in category 1. Lionel Vujasin in 1, Said Safrazad in 2, Ollie Jones in 3, Stefan van Elst in 4, and Pim van Diemen in 5. 6th place, it looks like it's going to be early attacker Johan Noren, who's making his way to that UCI banner. MyWhoosh and UCI are bringing you the World Championships of 24, 25 and 2026. Johan Norris surely has got to be a contender in there. He comes in 6th. It's going to be a 7th for Plantero, an 8th for Panizza, and 9th for the current world champion, Bjorn Andreasen, who's going to take 10th place. I think it's going to be Michael Knudsen. We'll get those confirmed for you. A little bit further back down, I think it's going to be potentially Kroll, who is going to be in 11th place. And then it's going to be a fight for 12th and 13th. It'll be Mr. X100, who's currently battling it out. I'm just waiting to see the rider he's alongside here. This could be a very interesting run for the line. It's Vidal Mer in there, the man who was our long-time leader, who took on the race. Well, he's been pulled back. He's been pulled back by Mr. X100. This is the run for the line. Mr. X100 winding it up early. He's at 6.2 watts per kilo. Mayor's got a phenomenal kick on him. Has he got anything left, though, as they come into the line?
Well, it's side by side, X100 and Mayor. As X100 pushes on, they're going to swing round the corner, see the sign. Is Mayor going to kick, or is X100 going to take this? I think Vidal Mayor's going to go over the top. He does, and takes that. So our leader, who led the race for such a long time, just pipping X100 on the line.
So there we go. They are your top 9 confirmed on here. Your top 5 that are going to be in the prizes. Line over Justin taking top spot in 1. Say Safrazad in 2. Ollie Jones in 3. Stefan Van Elst in 4. Pim Van Diemen in 5. Categories 2, 3 and 4, Emma.
So category 2, Vanhe, who took the win from Quintero. Category 3, Kansara from Didutch. And category 4, well, that was Kalman from Neville Ross.
You can get the full results on the MyWhoosh website. It's mywhoosh.com/results. Please do remember that the results at the moment are live. They will be unofficial until all the riders' results are verified using our world-class system here on MyWhoosh. We are going to take a breath and we'll be watching it back. It's been a pleasure putting words to the action. My name's Matt Payne. You can catch up with me on social media at Matt Fixer Payne. For all your decorating tips, please send them to at Biking Emma, who I'm not going to give a chance to get a word in edgeways. However, we've got to say, please do subscribe. Give us a follow. It really does help us. It helps MyWhoosh. It helps the racing, and it gives us all of the information that we hope we can get to you. I hope you've enjoyed the show today. We've enjoyed the racing. Massive thank you to our riders for putting on a show. A massive thank you to the team behind the scenes for bringing it to you. And a massive thank you to you for watching. But from Emma and myself, Matt Payne, stay safe. We'll see you again soon.
Goodbye.